Hi, this is Linda. I'm happy to be with you. This morning I received a call from a longtime client. She's a producer working on a major new project. Very, very well-known people collaborating on this very high visibility project. And there's a critical meeting going on this morning, and she and her team have not been included. And she feels that that is really a problem, both from a visibility point of view, but even more importantly, from making the project work out well, because she should be on site in that meeting and part of the decision. So the meeting is just in a couple of hours. What should she do? There are a number of factors, political factors, matters of judgment, and she's feeling very stressed. What should she do in that moment? Her hair is on fire. In my work with people in high-stakes situations, I've become very present to the idea that we don't notice when our anxiety begins to escalate. It can happen very fast and it can quickly move into panic, and our judgment really gets ruined at that point. So I'm advising you to take a moment, if you're watching this video, to, in the next couple of days, notice yourself when your anxiety begins to raise. What are your triggers? And it's different for many of us, but I tell you, I notice we tend to blow right by the triggers before we notice them. And in this case, this morning, this client, I could hear her fidgeting. We did a quick phone call, and she called me because it was all she could think of. And what's the chance that I would be available at that moment is not very great. I advised her, I could hear that she was making a racket, and I know her, and I knew what she was doing. She was fidgeting. She was grabbing at straws. The panic was escalating. I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Oh, I'm cleaning up the counter." And I said, "Please go and sit down." And okay, are you seated now? Well, I will, but just one more minute. No. Quiet. Leave your space, sit down. Again, I am suggesting for all of us, and certainly for myself as well, to take the time to begin to tune in what your own physical anxiety manifestations are: quickening breath, fidgeting, the foot shakes. I see that all the time. Notice when your anxiety starts to rise. First thing, calm yourself, sit down, change your environment, have a shot and a beer, light a cigarette. No, I'm kidding, not those things. If you've had the opportunity to develop a long-term relationship with a coach, and if you can just be able to dial that coach when you need some advice, and if that coach happens to be there, then you are lucky. I think my superpower is being lucky. But sometimes we don't want to just rely on luck. And we can see in the world that many of us do rely on our imaginary conversations when things get tough. My mom has passed many years ago, but there are times that I have found myself asking for advice from my mom. You may have someone in your spiritual realm, in your religious tradition. You can ask for advice from that person who can be very alive in your life. You can have an imaginary conversation with a superpower icon that you can think of. What would Spider-Man say? Or what would a religious leader like Thich Nhat Hanh, many of you may know, what would a religious leader say? What would a political leader that you like and admire, what would that political leader say? The idea is get yourself a little bit of distance from the problem, because in fact, what you're doing is asking that part of yourself that is the knowing part, the wisest part, and practice that, because it can make a difference, especially in those high anxiety situations that we all face. Your best self, your quiet self will know. Make it a priority. Make your work more satisfying. Make it more rewarding and less exhausting. You can do it.